Hello everybody, and welcome back to the channel. This video is going to be a little bit different than what you've seen on this channel. As you may have noticed, this channel has not posted anything in months, and I would like to apologize. But first and foremost, I would like to formally introduce myself, as I haven't really done that yet on this channel. My name is Evan Marchetti, and as you may know, I started this channel in early 2020 with Jerry Messing, otherwise known as the Tips Fedora guy. But, as you know, we haven't posted anything in almost 9 months. Well, if you are watching this video, that means I actually finally went through with making it. I have been thinking about making this video for quite a while now, but I never actually could go through with it. This might be one of the hardest videos I have had to make, but I feel like I should explain to you guys why I haven't been posting. So without further ado, this is my story. I was born in the year of 2000 in a small town in Michigan. I grew up in various small towns in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and in case you don't know much about it, it's about half the size of Michigan, but has less than a third of the Michigan population. It is a very rural place. My whole life, I have been a very social person. I have always had a dream to achieve something, to be someone. I wanted to be a musician or an actor, but living where I live, I never found an opportunity to pursue any of that. When I was a young kid, maybe between the ages of 9 and 12, I was diagnosed with ADHD and misdiagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, which is a form of autism. It wasn't until almost a decade later that I found out what I really had. This is a little scary to admit, since it is one of the most stigmatized and misunderstood mental illnesses of all time. But I would like to be open about it, and I would like to share this with you guys because I would like you to fully understand me and maybe see this illness in a different light. Alright, here it goes. My name is Evan Marchetti, and I suffer from schizophrenia. The year was 2019, and things seemed to be going well for me. I had just gotten my GED, which is equivalent to a high school diploma. I got to spend a week in the city of Los Angeles with my grandfather, which was my first time ever on a plane and my first time leaving the northern United States. It might have even been the best week of my life. I was thinking of colleges to look at and jobs I could apply for. Then out of nowhere, everything started to fall apart. It was July, and I was at a Bible camp that I would go to every year. Everything was going fine, until one day, seemingly out of nowhere, I went catatonic. If you don't know what that means, it essentially means I was in a psychosis-related state where I was motionless and unresponsive for a long period of time. My friends tried to get me out of it to no avail. I had to be carried into the infirmary, where I remained like that a while longer. When I finally snapped out of it, things started to get worse for me. After I left camp, I started hearing voices, screams, and shouts in my head. I started hallucinating that I was surrounded by fire and demons, and I was thinking of violent things. It was hell, and I went to see my psychiatrist, who then diagnosed me with schizoaffective disorder, which is a condition that has traits of both schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. He started me on medication right away, and I slowly started to get better. Later that year, my condition started to worsen, and my diagnosis changed from schizoaffective disorder to schizophrenia. Ever since then, my life has not been exactly the same. In January of 2020, I had to be hospitalized for a week because of my condition. After a few days in the hospital, I had my worst episode I ever had. Out of nowhere, I started laughing uncontrollably, which got the attention of the nurses. I don't remember the whole incident, but I remember thinking that everyone was trying to kill me, and screaming and throwing stuff. The hospital staff had to get everybody else in their rooms, and they wouldn't let any new patients come in the psych ward for the rest of the day. Eventually, they were able to tranquilize me with pills, which was one of the worst feelings I've ever had. I was in and out of consciousness for over 20 hours. I would wake up and not be able to move, and I was terrified and didn't know what happened. Luckily for me, I got into a more stable condition and got released 4 days later. It was not long after that me and Jerry started this channel. For a little while, I felt somewhat normal again. It was during this time that I uploaded my 2 videos for Fedora Productions. But after March, things started to go downhill again. I lost all ambition to do anything. I lost all my motivation, and I couldn't bring myself to do anything productive. My schizophrenia symptoms got worse, and I overall felt not well. It all culminated into me flipping out on my parents and leaving to live in a hotel for 2 weeks. Goes without saying that this spur-of-the-moment decision was a very bad one. After the 2 weeks, I was out of money and moved back in with my parents. Not long after, my antipsychotic medication started causing me to have a rapid heartbeat, over 175 beats per minute while resting. I ended up in the ER 3 times, and eventually I was able to stop the medication that was causing the problem and switch to another antipsychotic medication. The good news was this new one worked for me, and it did not cause a rapid heartbeat. Things were starting to get better for me when suddenly a new problem came up. You see, after my times in the ER with a rapid heartbeat, I was given a beta blocker medication, which is a medication that lowers my heart rate. Well, in mid-November, I started feeling really lightheaded whenever I stood up and sometimes while sitting down. That had me in the ER 3 times before we found out what was causing it. Anyway, my nurse practitioner told me to stop taking the beta blocker, and that's where the next problem came in. You see, I looked into the beta blocker and found that stopping it suddenly can cause serious and sometimes fatal heart problems, and that I would need to taper down off of it. Well, I told this to my nurse practitioner, but he wouldn't budge. He assured me that I'll be fine going off of it all at once, and he refused to have me taper off of it. I decided to trust him, and I stopped taking the medication. And guess what happened? 2 days later, I go to the ER again because my rapid heartbeat had come back. Anytime I stood up, it got up to 150 beats per minute. I told the ER doctor how I stopped taking my beta blocker without tapering off of it, and he immediately seemed surprised that my nurse practitioner had not had me taper off of it. The doctor told me to go back on it, and he would prescribe me a lower dose in order for me to taper off of it. And that brings us to the present. As of right now, I am slowly starting to feel better, and my schizophrenia symptoms are starting to become easier for me to handle. And if you are watching this, it means I finally got the motivation to make a new video. I hope you guys can understand why I haven't been posting, and can be patient while I slowly start to get better. This video has been hard to make, but I'm glad I finally got to making it. As of right now, I do intend to eventually start working on this channel again and making more videos. Thank you for your support. This has been Evan Marchetti, and I will see you in the next video.